Well, hey, folks, Lori Daybell's trial is set to begin next week, and her defense is likely going to be that everybody else conspired to kill her kids, not her. What she's going to have a tough time selling to a jury is why she didn't tell police that her children were missing, or why she and her secret boyfriend, Chad Daybell, snuck away to Hawaii to get married just weeks after his wife, Tammy Daybell, mysteriously died. And whoa, what about all the talk on zombies? Well, hello everybody and welcome to Profiling Evil. I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button as we get started. Make sure you're ringing the bell and taking care of all that you need so you get all of our notifications when they come out. You know, I joined Vinnie Politan last night to talk about Lori Daybell's trial. In preparation for what undoubtedly will become a memorable couple of months, Vinnie started right off with questions about what causes seemingly intelligent people to join cults and believe in bizarre ideologies. Listen to our discussions.
Let me bring in my guest as we get ready for this trial to start on Monday. From Los Angeles, California, director of the Netflix documentary, amazing documentary, Sins of Our Mother, Skye Borgman is with us. And in Salt Lake City, Utah, retired police commander who led a ritual crime task force and now hosts the Profiling Evil podcast, Mike King is with us. Thank you both so much. Mike, what are your thoughts? You've worked in this area. Like, how does someone go from, you know, regular religious beliefs to now you're on the fringe and you're beyond the fringe at this point, and children are dying and people are being shot and bizarre stuff?
Yeah, we always looked at it, Vinny, from first and foremost, we tried to push all the religious stuff aside and look at it from elements of crime and motivation. And there's something wacky about people that they want to be better than anybody else. We see it in religious zealots. We see it in people who are zealous in other parts of their life, but there's this compelling desire to be better at it than anybody else. To have more light and knowledge is a term that's used a lot in these religious cults, or that I'm closer to God than anyone else, so you really need to listen to me. But for some reason, they attract these like-minded people who pull into their universe and they start to believe what they're saying. And it's kind of the boil the frog mentality. You know, these guys don't come in right off the bat and say, hey, let's start talking zombies and kill children. They start off with, no, you're elect. You're getting special guidance from God that nobody else is privy to. You're better off than anybody else. And inch by inch, they start to move them into this psychopathy. A lot of people wonder, is this a true psychiatric issue like schizophrenia that leads to these kinds of problems? Man, I don't know, but we sure see a lot of those same kind of characteristics in these self-proclaimed cult leaders. As we continued our discussion around why people join these kinds of groups, Vinnie tried to expose another really interesting component of many of these closed societies, that of sexual exploitation. I was fortunate enough to be able to share the show with the producer of that new Netflix documentary on Daybell's case. Her name is Skye Borgman, and she is the producer behind the show, Sins of Our Mother. It sheds new light on Daybell's case, and I hope you'll go and watch that. But let's catch this exchange on Court TV.
You know, Skye, the other thing that I've noticed with a lot of these cult leaders, at the end of the day, they end up sleeping with women. In this case, right, he's married, he has a family. It's almost like a middle-aged crazy kind of thing that he was going through as well. The children are getting older. All of a sudden, I'm getting attention from this blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman who will do anything I say. Dancing videos she's sending me. I'm wondering how much of this is religion and how much of it was just this animalistic sexual attraction that was going on with Chad.
I think you're right. I think a lot of it could be very much a sexual attraction. I mean, even in this video, you can see there's a difference in Chad. I mean, when he meets Lori, physically he changes. He starts dressing differently. He starts acting differently. Like, he loves this idea, I think, of being with this beautiful woman, and he loves this idea of being somebody different, and he loves this idea of being the god to her queen, the king to her queen. And I think that's a big part of it, that it was potentially animalistic to start, or potentially sexual to start, but then the religion comes into it and it starts to elevate it to something even beyond that, where they think they're the king and the queen of this world, and they think that they're gods that can control and lead other people to the New Jerusalem.
Unreal. All right.
Hey, Vinny, I
go
got
ahead,
a thought
Mike.
on that real quickly. Just it's something we've seen over and over again, too, and I think Sky's right on to something here, but it's generally also in these predators, especially when they start taking other wives and other kinds of things, that their actual predation starts to evolve. And it's a whole lot better to say, God's telling me to do this, than I'm going to just violate the law and go out and do it myself.
Mike King, Sky Borgman staying with us. We're going to talk more about the Doomsday cult mom and the prophet.
And how do you talk about the Daybell case without bringing up the subject of zombies? Vinny got a pretty emotional response from me on that particular topic. And frankly, I'm still a little bit angered by that particular element. In fact, if Lori and Chad are found guilty of everything they've been charged with, I think many of their followers are going to look back at those two that they considered to be their leaders, and I think they'll be breathing a sigh of relief. Why? Well, I wonder how many of them, once they started hearing that the zombies were getting killed, or were looking over their shoulders wondering if they're next on the hit list. Perhaps we're going to learn a whole lot more about that particular angle as this trial goes on.
So Lori Vallow Daybell, she's got her son JJ, calling him a zombie, calls her brother, the same brother who killed her husband Charles Vallow, to come get JJ. Yikes. Let's bring back in our guest, Sky Borgman, Mike King with us. Mike, this whole notion of zombies, that part kind of, the first time I heard it, I was like, wait a minute, I thought this, they were religious, and all of a sudden they're bringing in the Walking Dead into this whole thing? Like, where does that come from? Is that common? Have you heard that before in some of these other cults?
No, the first time I heard that was coming out of their lips as part of this whole shenanigan here. And I'll tell you what really bugs me about that particular one, Vinny, is that if they truly believed, and if these kids were zombies, they would have been shouting from the rooftops that they killed these children, instead of running to Hawaii, getting married, and hiding out and lying to law enforcement about where they were. And this thing absolutely gets me so enraged to think of those little children being in an environment where they're being not only called zombie, but trying to defend themselves. We even know that Tylee at one point responds, "Mom, I'm not a zombie." They must have been terrorized during this time.
Unreal.
Well, hey folks, I'm pausing to share some concerns I have surrounding identity theft and fraud. I've learned a lot from our partner Aura. They're the pros at protecting people from cyber predators. Aura provides identity theft protection, credit and fraud protection, and online and device security for you and your family. They taught me to think twice before answering those online questionnaires designed to steal our personal information. You know, it must be working, because U.S. statistics show that 33% of us have been victimized by identity theft at an annual cost of more than $56 billion each year. Aura protection plans come with around-the-clock support, a money-back guarantee, and $1 million theft policy. But here's the best part. You can try Aura for free by clicking on this special Profiling Evil link in the description down below. When you do, we get a small commission. But think about it. You insure your car and you insure your house. Don't you think it's time to insure your identity? Now let's get back to today's discussion. Well, this is going to be one interesting case to follow through the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to be commenting on Court TV and News Nation quite often about it. You know, I spent much of my career chasing this kind of predatory behavior. In fact, after my investigation and takedown of the Zion Society cult, I went over to work for the Attorney General's office investigating ritual crime. For the past 35 years, I've studied, taught, and written about cult behavior and the dynamics in these closed societies. Now, you can read more about that in my book, Deceived. I hope you'll pick it up. It's called Deceived, an investigative memoir of the Zion Society cult. And you can find it at profilingevil.com in hardbound, or you can just go over to Amazon and pick it up in paperback. Now, Vinny's next question required a prediction, and that prediction has to do with whether or not Lori Daybell is going to enjoy the attention that she will undoubtedly receive in the coming weeks during the trial. You know, most people would be thinking about the horrors those children and the spouses went through. What do you think is going to be on her mind?
I'm looking at her in court there, Mike. We only have like a minute left here, but do you think she's going to enjoy the attention inside the courtroom?
I think she absolutely enjoys the attention, and this is going to be interesting to see how she interacts in court with everyone. You know, and I want to just add one thing to what was talked about here. There was a financial motivation for them to get rid of these children as well, because with the children out of the picture and not having to report them and receive Social Security and other monies that were set aside for those children, they actually had a money train coming that at least lasted till they were 18. And with Charles Vallow's money, it could have gone much longer. So I think we're going to see the prosecution come out hitting with both barrels.
All right. Well, I appreciate both of you coming on tonight. We're going to be talking to you hopefully throughout the course of our coverage of this trial. Sky Borgman, director of Sins of Our Mother on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, watch it this weekend before the trial starts. Mike King, Profiling Evil podcast on YouTube. Thanks so much. We'll see you again.
Well, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and consider joining our channel memberships. My favorite is the Academy level, where you get a whole lot more for just a little more. Hey, your donation helps us out, and it helps us to continue to push out quality content and keep this channel alive. So thanks for supporting us. And make sure that you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. You can find Profiling Evil on your favorite podcast platform. And thanks again, folks. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.